Hey guys, so in this lecture we're going to learn about the concept of expanding brackets. Now what does expanding brackets actually mean? It's just basically another way of saying getting rid of brackets. So when we have a number or variable sitting outside a bracket, all we have to do is simply multiply that number or variable into each of the terms sitting inside the bracket. So for example, if we have something like 3 sitting outside the brackets of a plus 5, all we do is multiply the 3 to the a and then multiply the 3 to the 5. So we have 3 times a and then the sign in the middle, which is plus 3 times 5, which then equals 3 times a. As we know, when we are doing algebraic equations, we don't use the multiplication sign. So we simply drop that sign, so it becomes 3a, and then plus 3 times 5, which is 15. So now let's work our way through a number of examples to see how this works in different situations. So now let's work our way through the following question. It says, expand the following and simplify where possible. So again, let's use our knowledge. So we have 5 sitting on the outside of the bracket, and we have c plus 3 on the inside. So as we discussed, we take whatever's on the outside and we multiply it to everything that's on the inside. So we go 5 times c, and we also go 5 times 3. So we have 5 times c to begin with, then plus 5 times 3. And calculating these, 5 times c simply gives us 5c, as we know. The multiplication sign gets dropped, plus 5 times 3, which is simply 15. Alright, so that's the second example. We have negative d on the outside and d minus 3 on the inside. Now the best thing I can tell you here is always work it in steps. So step number 1, let's work out our signs first. So we're going to be multiplying a negative number outside to a positive number inside. So we know that our sign is going to be negative. Then we have d times d, pretty straightforward. And then we have a negative number being multiplied by a negative number. So we know that the sign will now change to a plus, because a negative times a negative is a plus. And then we have plus d times 3. So we have a negative. D times d simply gives us a d squared. Then the plus sign in the middle. And we have d times 3, which gives us 3d. Alright, the third example now. So we have 4h sitting on the outside and 3 minus 2h sitting on the inside. So we have 4h multiplied by 3, then take away, because we're simply multiplying a positive number on the outside to a negative number. So positive times negative is still negative, so we still have that negative sign in the middle. We have 4h times 2h, which equals, so 4h times 3 gives us 12h, take away, 4h times 2h gives us 8h squared. So I hope you guys are following along. So let's now have a go at example number D. So we have minus 3r sitting on the outside and r minus 5 sitting on the inside. So again, we are multiplying a negative to a positive, so we know that the answer is going to be negative. So we have 3r multiplied by r, and then we have again a negative multiplied by a negative, which is going to give us a positive in the middle. And then we have 3r, the outside bit, multiplied to the inside bit. So negative answer for the first part here, because we know that's going to be a negative. And then 3r times r gives us 3r squared. And then we have the plus in the middle, and we have 3r times 5. So 3 times 5 gives us 15, and then simply an r at the end. Now I suggest that for the fifth example, you have a go at this yourself. So pause the video, and then we'll be going through the steps in a couple of seconds. Alright, cool. So we have 5y sitting on the outside and 3s on the inside. So this is a positive, so we know the answer is obviously going to be positive. We have 5y multiplied by 3s, and then we have a 5y multiplied by negative 9y. So a positive times a negative gives us a negative, and then 5y times 9y. So we have 5 times 3, which is 15, and y times s, which is simply ys. Then we have a takeaway. So we have 5 times 9, which is 45. And then y times y, which gives us y squared. So expanding brackets, as you can notice, that we start off with brackets and expanding them effectively helps us get rid of the brackets. So if you look at each of the answers, we no longer have any brackets in them because we have expanded them. Alright, so now let's work our way through these examples, which also have that simplification aspect to them. Alright, so let's see how this works. So, same concept, we have a number on the outside and an expression on the inside of the bracket. So we simply take the number on the outside and we multiply it to everything that's on the inside. So we have 7 times 5g plus 7 times 3 with a minus 10 sitting on the outside. So 7 times 5g gives us 35g. 7 times 3 gives us 21, and we have a takeaway 10. So we have 35g minus 21, plus 21 minus 10. So we know that the 21 and the 10 are like terms. So all we have to do now is 35g, 21 minus 10 is simply plus 11. So that is the process of expanding as well as simplifying an expression. Let's work our way through the other 4 examples now. Alright, so we have 2c on the outside and 5 minus c on the inside. So that becomes 2c multiplied by 5. Then we have the positive 2c multiplied by the negative c. So that gives us a negative answer. So 2c times c. And then plus 12. This, so we have 2c times 5. So this gives us 10c. Then we have the takeaway sign. And then we have 2c times c, which gives us 2c squared. And then we have a plus 12 as well. So you'll notice that none of these terms are actually like terms. So there's nothing more we can do to simplify this. Alright, so the third example now. We have 24r plus r, and then in brackets 2 plus r. So 24r stays where it is for now. Then we have plus r times 2, so that's just 2r, or we'll write r times 2 for now, and then plus r times r. So we're just simply taking this r and multiplying it to everything inside the bracket. This then gives us 24r plus r times 2 is simply 2r, then plus r times r, which is r squared. Now we know that 24r and 2r are like terms because they have the very same variables in both terms. So because they're like terms, we can simply add them through in this case. So 24r plus 2r gives us 26r, and then we have r squared sitting on its own. So the simplified version of this is 26r plus r squared. Alright, so let's go to this example now. So we have 5 minus 3g plus, so let's start expanding that bracket. So we have 6 times 2g, and we have positive 6 multiplied by negative 7, so that gives us a negative answer. So 6 times 7 is 42. Now, let's figure out some of these expressions here. So 6 times 2g is 12g. So we have 5 minus 3g plus 12g minus 42. Now, if we look at our like terms, we have the 5 and the 42, which are like, and then we have the minus 3g and the 12g plus 12g, which are also like terms. So, if we were to write them out next to each other, just for simplification purposes, so 5 minus 42, remember we always take the sign with it, and then we have minus 3g plus 12g. Alright, so now if we have to figure this out, so 5 minus 42 gives us a negative 37, and then minus 3g plus 12g, or minus 3 plus 12, gives us a positive 9, and then obviously a g as well. So the simplified version of this is minus 37 plus 9g. Now for the very final example, I think it's best if you have a go at this yourself and see how we go. Alright, so now let's work our way through it. So we have 3 in brackets 2t plus 8 plus 5t minus 23. So let's start off by expanding that bracket. So we have 3 times 2t plus 3 times 8 plus 5t minus 23. Then we have 3 times 2t, which gives us 6t. So we have 6t plus 3 times 8, which is 24, plus 5t minus 23. Now let's underline our like terms. So we have 6t and 5t, which are obviously like terms, and we have the numbers 24 and minus 23, which are also like terms. So 6t plus 5t gives us 11t, and then plus 24 minus 23 gives us a plus 1. So the simplified version of this expression is 11t plus 1. Were you able to get the same answer?